Echoes of the Xylos. Part 1, The Find. The ship, known as the Rusty Reaper, was a relic of a simpler time, much like its crew. The hull was pocked with craters from years spent scavenging the fringes of the galaxy, where the Galactic Empire's reach was tenuous at best. It was a patchwork of old technologies, held together by desperation and a shared dream of one day striking it rich. Captain Mira Voss, a wiry woman with a perpetual frown beneath her unkempt hair, piloted the ship with a mix of caution and reckless abandon. "Scan the area again, Jax," she commanded, her voice slicing through the silence of the cockpit. Jax, the ship's technician and an expert in salvaging, was hunched over his console, fingers flying over the controls. "Nothing but space debris, Captain. We're not going to find gold out here." "Just keep looking," Mira replied, her eyes fixed on the swirling nebula outside. The vibrant colors masked the dangers lurking within. They were running low on supplies, and desperation was a potent motivator. Suddenly, Jax's voice broke through her thoughts. "Wait. I'm picking up something unusual, a derelict ship, buried in the debris field. It's ancient." Myra's interest peaked. "Ancient? How ancient?" "Pre-Empire, I'd say. Xylosian, from the looks of it." The mention of the Xylos civilization sent a thrill through Mira. They were a race shrouded in mystery, known for their advanced technology and abrupt extinction. She could hardly believe her luck. "Set a course," she ordered, her heart racing at the prospect of uncovering lost treasures. Minutes later, the Rusty Reaper hovered above the vessel, a hulking mass of twisted metal and faded colors. It was like a ghost, drifting silently in the void. Mira led her crew, Jax, the mechanic, Lila, the pilot, and Grayson, the muscle, into the ship. As they boarded, an eerie silence enveloped them. Dust and tangled wires covered the floors, and the air was thick with the scent of rust and decay. The crew moved cautiously, their sensors picking up faint readings of energy emanating from deeper within the ship. "Over here," Mira called, motioning towards a chamber at the end of a dimly lit corridor. Inside, they discovered a single, pulsating artifact resting in the center of a circular platform. It glowed with an ethereal blue light, casting shadows that danced across the walls. "What is it?" Grayson asked, eyes wide. "I've never seen anything like it," Jax replied, or replacing his usual skepticism. "It must be the heart of the ship." Mira stepped closer, entranced by the artifact. "It feels alive." "Careful, Captain," Lila warned, her brow furrowing. "We don't know what it is." Ignoring the warning, Mira reached out, her fingers brushing against the smooth surface. In that instant, a rush of images flooded her mind, visions of Xylosian cities, their people, and their ultimate demise. Knowledge, raw and overwhelming, coursed through her, filling the void within her. "Captain!" Grayson shouted, but Mira was lost in the experience. When she finally pulled her hand away, breathless, she turned to her crew, eyes wild. "It's a mind seed. It can bestow knowledge and power, but it changes you." Lila's expression hardened. "Changes you how?" "Into a Xylosian," Mira replied, the weight of the revelation settling over them like a shroud. Part 2, The Choice. As the crew debated their next move, a siren echoed through the ship, a warning of impending danger. The Galactic Empire had caught wind of their discovery, and they were coming for the artifact. "We need to leave, now," Jax shouted, scrambling to the controls. Myra's heart raced as she considered the implications of the mind seed. "What if we could use it? Just a little. We could turn the tide against the Empire." Grayson shook his head. "And become something we're not? No way. We're already on the edge. This could push us over." "Think about what we could do," Mira insisted, desperation creeping into her voice. "We could fight back. We could be free." Lila chimed in, her voice steady. But at what cost? We don't know what it will do to us. We've seen what the Empire does to those who wield power. Myra's throat tightened. They were right, but the thought of remaining powerless against the Empire was unbearable. We could take turns. Just enough to gain an advantage. Before anyone could respond, a flash of light illuminated the cockpit. Imperial ships were descending upon them, their ominous silhouettes growing larger by the second. Too late for discussion. Jax yelled, slamming buttons as he initiated the ship's engines. The Rusty Reaper lurched forward, but the Empire's ships were faster, surrounding them. Mira! Grayson shouted, panic creeping into his voice. What do we do? Myra's mind raced. We fight. Jax, get us out of here. As the crew prepared for battle, Mira felt the pull of the mind seed deep within her. It promised power, a way to turn the tide. But at what cost? She glanced at her crew, their faces a mix of fear and determination, and knew she had to make a choice. Hold on. Jax called, as the ship rocked beneath the barrage of blaster fire. Myra's resolve hardened. She had to protect her crew. Part 3, The Transformation. The battle raged outside, but all Mira could think about was the mind seed. We need to use it, she declared, her voice shaking with urgency. Mira, no. Lila protested. You don't know what it will do to you. We don't have a choice. We're outnumbered, she replied, desperation creeping into her tone. I'll take the first leap. I'll be the one to wield it. Without waiting for a response, Mira raced back to the artifact. She reached out, fingers trembling as she pressed her palm against its surface. The energy surged through her, and visions flooded her mind once more. This time, however, they were different. She could feel the essence of the Xylosians intertwining with her own. A wave of power surged through her, and she gasped, her body convulsing as something deep within her began to shift. Memories of the Xylos civilization enveloped her, knowledge of their technology, their struggles, and their triumphs. But with it came a profound sense of loss, a longing for a past that was never hers. Mira! Grayson shouted, his voice distant as the transformation began. You have to stop. But it was too late. Mira could feel the changes taking root within her. Her senses heightened, and she could hear the chaos of the battle outside as if she were standing in the midst of it. The power coursing through her was intoxicating. Mira! Lila's voice broke through the haze, but Mira was beyond reach. The mind seed had taken hold, and she was becoming something more, something dangerous. Part 4, The Reckoning. As the transformation completed, Mira emerged from the chamber, eyes glowing with a new intensity. Her crew stared at her in awe and horror, unsure of what she had become. Mira! Grayson's voice wavered, uncertainty etched on his face. I can feel them, she said, her voice deeper, resonating with an otherworldly echo. The Xylosians. They're within me. I can harness their power. Lila stepped back, fear evident in her eyes. Mira, you need to fight it. We're still a crew, and we need you. But Mira felt invincible, a wave of confidence surging through her. We can defeat the Empire. We can take back our freedom. Just then, the ship jolted as blaster fire struck the hull. Jax scrambled to the controls, trying to maintain their course. They're firing at us. We need to move. Let me handle this, Mira said, stepping toward the cockpit. She placed her hands on the controls, feeling a connection to the ship and the energy flowing from the mind seed. With a flick of her wrist, she redirected the ship, evading the incoming fire. The crew watched in disbelief as Mira maneuvered the Rusty Reaper with a precision they had never seen before. Mira, you're amazing! Jax exclaimed, but Lila remained cautious. This isn't right, she warned. You're changing, and we don't know what will happen next. The Imperial ships closed in, their blasters ready. Mira felt the power bubbling within her, and she knew she could unleash it. I can end this, she said, turning to her crew with wild determination. Mira, no. Grayson shouted, desperation creeping into his voice. We can't lose you. But the Xylosian essence pulsed within her, urging her to act. With a surge of energy, she reached out, and the ship vibrated with her will. In an instant, a wave of energy exploded outward, engulfing the Imperial ships. They faltered, their systems failing as Myra's power overwhelmed them. The crew felt the backlash, the force knocking them off their feet. Part 5, The Aftermath. As the dust settled, Mira stood at the helm, breathing heavily. The Imperial ships lay in ruins, scattered across the void. She turned to her crew, exhilaration and fear mingling in her chest. I did it, she said, voice trembling. I saved us. Lila stared at her, eyes wide with a mixture of admiration and terror. But at what cost, Mira? You're not the same. Jax pushed himself up, shaking his head. We've got to get out of here. The Empire will send reinforcements. Not until I figure this out, Mira replied, her voice firm. I'm still me. I can control this. Grayson stepped forward, concern etched on his face. Mira, listen to us. You're becoming something else. We're your crew, and we need you back. The weight of his words hit her, and for a moment, doubt crept in. I can help us fight back against the Empire. We can take down their strongholds. But at what cost? Lila pressed, her voice steady. You're losing yourself, Mira. We can't let the mind seed take you. Myra's heart raced as she grappled with the truth of their words. The power was intoxicating, but it came with a price. She could feel the Xylosian essence threatening to consume her, to turn her into something she wasn't. With a deep breath, she closed her eyes and focused, willing herself to regain control. She could feel the pull of the mind seed, but she fought against it, grounding herself in her humanity. When she opened her eyes, the glow had dimmed, and she felt more like herself again. You're right, she said, voice trembling. I can't let it control me. Lila stepped forward, relief flooding her expression. We're still here for you, Mira. We can find a way to use the artifact without losing ourselves. Part 6, The Escape. As they prepared to leave the derelict ship, the crew made a pact. They would share the power of the mind seed, taking turns to harness its knowledge, but only with caution. They would not let the artifact dictate their fate. With the Rusty Reaper back in working order, they set a course for the nearest safe haven, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of what they had uncovered. The Empire would not stop pursuing them, and there were other factions interested in the mind seed as well. As they fled into the cosmos, Mira felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were no longer just scavengers, they were a crew bound by loyalty and the shared burden of their discovery. With the mind seed at their disposal, they would navigate the treacherous waters of power, knowledge, and the moral implications of their choices. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, determined to protect each other and their newfound strength, even as the echoes of the Xylos civilization resonated within them.